Oh, that's hot.
Hey,
Welcome back.
welcome.
Now today is a very, very special day.
Isn't it?
Today we have a full circle moment coming
Right.
together.
Mm-hmm.
We have Sevan Bomar in the building. Sevan,
Sevan. Hello. How are
Hey.
you?
Oh wow. I'm amazing. Like I'm so excited about this show this evening and wow, just really connecting with everyone. Yeah.
this is an amazing, amazing time for the podcast, guys. We're right now.
Yeah.
We've already told him. We told him before the show.
Right.
But right now,
Let them know. Let them know.
this guy is the one, like, maybe how many years ago? Like 4 years ago,
Yeah.
came across one of his videos,
Yeah.
and he really broke down a lot of things that we were feeling inside.
Mm-hmm.
And just after one video, I watched maybe all of them. I don't know.
And continue
Still
watching
watching
it.
them.
Still to this day.
Over a decade in. How, like, it's crazy. What
it's
you
an
gotta say,
honor.
Kat? I can't.
It's just an honor. I know she can't even let the words out, but you literally awoken our awakeness.
Yeah.
And and to have you on today is just such an honor, and thank you so much for coming in and just vibing with us and just getting us to really have an awakening moment. And I'm just going to let you go and, let us know, for people who, some of our listeners may not know who you are. And I would love to hear how you can define yourself.
Yeah, I would love to hear that too. These days, I'm like, okay, because you're doing a lot. I first want to say, man, I give thanks for reaching out to me and letting me know that, the space was open for me to be able to come here and share the message. It's greatly appreciated. And I so vibe with the energy and what you're working on together. And I think that it's something that it's just going to shine anyway because y'all are shining. So I recognize, that. And that's exactly why I'm here. I also want to give thanks to the ancestors for lining this up because it's also full moon. As you know, you actually emailed me and we pinged some stuff back and forth. And then my email box went crazy. And I just had it in my mind and said, I've received their email back. I saw it in there, but I don't know where it is. And so a lot of stuff going on. And then I found it because I made those intentions happen. And then I sent you the times, and it just so happens to hit on this day.
Wow.
And so I just see it all as perfectly lined up. So I trust that we're going to be able to come in here and, really raise the roof, shake this thing up and give that necessary boost to our tribe and our family worldwide that they need, and we can do that here. So give thanks.
Thank you. Thank
Nice.
you.
Oh, my introduction. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah. Oh, wow.
I guess it's easier to see me as a time traveler. Like, I've been, deep in the past and ancient knowledge, and I've also been to the future where it's all ether. And now I'm here in the present to do as much as I can. I also have really done my best to leave, a written instruction and a video instruction to just how to keep vibing high with your consciousness and really get beyond what you'll see, in the denser fields, which is where we grow the most. I've never met anybody who had really something to say and that was really about something that didn't go through something. So this is that process in our existence where we really see that we're made out of, what we're made out of. And, we can do that here now, and we can also do that together. So that's what also makes it, it becomes an adventure versus, just the stress and the turmoil, even though our lessons come from that too. So that's where I'm at. I'm also an inventor. I'm an author. I wrote the code of the Matrix. I have a few devices that I've invented, Hydrolux, hydrogen generators, also a Aqua, which is a frequency generator. I work with technology. Some people can call me a technology guru. We've developed the world's first conscious social network, Functionable, 3.0, 4.0 stuff, just keeping up with, the biggest titans in the industry, and also, waiting for things. Well, not waiting anymore because things are shifting. So basically, we developed something that was to meet this situation we're dealing with right now, because we were already aware that this situation was going to take place. Right. And so if you look at any of the annuals and the big deposits of past recordings on getting yourself together, you'll see that we talked about by 2020, you really need to be on your sovereign thing,
right?
Because it was going to do that to us all anyway. And that's what the stars say, not, your basic government or whoever you think is the dictator or the controller in this mess.
All right. Okay. Let them know.
Already coming in with the intro. Hitting them hard. That's what's up.
This is amazing.
So definitely, I know in the email process when we was reading it back to each other, she was letting me know what was going down. And you were like, hey, keep it relevant. And we were like, you just showed me that video of Dr. Emmanuel.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, send them that. That's what we just saw.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like that conversation we had that day went on for days. Right. And it was just like there. And because we did a poll and what was the poll?
So we did a poll on Dr. Emmanuel's speech, and we asked, would you hear what she has to say? Like, try it out, not try it out, but see if that's something that can work, because FDA already approved this. So, I mean, we weren't seeing if people believed what she was saying. It was like everybody thought it was false. So, a majority of them said no.
And I instantly thought, I was like, instead of trying to find a solution, you rather wait for mainstream media to give you the solution. And that was like a weird awakening, too, because I was like, people don't want to get better. People don't want this to change.
Even if it's not 100% truth, the fact of it is like it was immediately taken down because of a fact checker, and it's more of opening our eyes to different things, not because of listening to the government and letting us know like, oh, we need to wear masks, we need to be shut down, we need to do all this, and not having other like facts or other things that can possibly work or any of those sorts. We just wanted to know what your thoughts on. I don't want to be rambling and saying so much.
Okay, so y'all go tag me in. So this is like in the part in the wrestling match where that person outside is already super crunk. I kind of listened to GIF about this today. They tagged him in. And he goes running around the rings and then jumps from the top ropes on that thing. This is what I'm about to do up in the ring right now. So, I mean, it's just like you're saying. Well, first and foremost, for those that have no clue what we're talking about, because there are some people on the line that, they've been doing all sorts of stuff. So just to bring some context around it, there was a video that was posted where a sister, Dr. Emmanuel, was going in about a solution for the situation that everybody's dealing with on the bacteria level. I have to actually, use those terms just to, get my recorders out these days. But I think a great poll would have been, do you think she, when you're listening to someone tell the truth, it sounds like something. Yeah. And so I believe that also is a big context here. Can we still hear the truth? Or do we think that even if what they call reverse SEO comes behind that and tries to do the damage control, are we easily like persuaded back into the other direction? Like, oh, okay, we can go back to sleep now. This is definitely not something, nothing going on here, kids. Just go to sleep, basically. And that's just like a check to the reality. And what we've been talking about for a while, but just to kind of dive into this, is to realize that the most valuable aspect of what's going on right now is the real estate in your consciousness, like what you're actually doing with your mind, because we're not just creating physical things with our attention and with the energy that we're putting into it from our consciousness. We're also, we're creating ethereal things. We're creating the future, really. And so to be able to have billions of human beings utilizing their brains, which is like a processor, it's even more advanced than a computer processor, using their brains to script a certain or run a certain program or code or software into the reality, then, this is like everything that I would say in their great work that they've worked for, especially with the entry of Hollywood and just being able to utilize the TV to begin to dictate what reality really is. And this was all a plan anyway to get things to a point where reality would be like TV, and reality shows even would be like news.
Right.
And then one would kind of immerse into the guidelines and the doctrines, and kind of start living that way and never get out, really. Because if you notice, like, even since, the 50s, 40s, you name it, they've even continuously played, let's say, the race card and the things that are going on right now. But what it still serves to do is like still listening to a song where the person is still singing about the same thing. And here we are 70 years later, and the story is still the same.
Oh my God.
Your story's not going to change if that's your reality.
Right.
So if you're totally immersed in something like this, and that's what it's really designed to be, it's designed to be immersible. And we talked about that. They call it broadcasting, and then there's the casting of spells. So there's something very magical. And I've talked about this, about film and lights and cathode ray tubes and smoke and phantasmagoria and sound and the lighting and all this kind of stuff, because, this is really like the ultimate in our storytelling, our storytelling functions. And so when we start watching the story and then let that become our story versus writing the story, then you would begin to fit the political agenda of the king.
Exactly.
In most cases, things have not changed. But there's something important that we have to know, and that's also, see, people think they're looking at the end. And I'm here to tell you that we're actually at the beginning.
Yes. Okay.
And it's also because even 400 years ago, Doc, like, you even reading, I may get gouged out. Even having some knowledge is like, you go into like archive.org and downloading all the books, and not only being able to read these, because reading is one thing, comprehension is kind of another. You're comprehending what's going on. You're able to kind of paint this world in your mind about what things really exist like, and then you're able to formulate and come to new conclusions. This is all very foreign. So for sure, I would like to see us, realizing, honestly, one of the bigger problems is not that we don't have something like that. We don't have rights, we don't have freedom. It's that maybe we have a little too much, because my great-great-grandma, she walked 30 miles, 40 miles to school, and her having this window, even some of my friends over in Romania, them having this window of opportunity of internet and some kind of money, they would max out on the whole experience just for being given that opportunity. So we see the Uniteds because we know what the creation of the Uniteds was about. So you got United States, United Arab Emirates, and United Kingdom. The Uniteds were designed to basically be the catch-alls for anyone who had kind of lost from, let's say, 3 to 4 generations. They had been cut off due to some kind of raping, pillaging, despoiling of the land, etc. Because there's only one way that a king or a ruler or anybody can expand their land, and that's by taking over somebody else's land. But how can you take over somebody else's land and just not, you're not going to kill everybody and leave it desolate? Some places, especially when it's too much buck. But what is the system that you go into other people's land, take over, and then within at least one generation have them now working for you without even bucking and even considering that the land that you're on belongs to you and not them, these taxes that you're paying and all this society that has been brought in front of you is not something that you should necessarily be enjoying. It's something that you should be really getting ready to remove so you can restore where you were originally at. How do you create a system? Because they've done it. So I started looking at what are the key fundamentals to actually creating, taking a person from someone who has pride in their land and their space and their existence to someone who is now perpetuating the same system that is bringing about the demise. And this becomes even like simple because even I'm talking about on a high levels, like even investing in stocks, like everybody's like buy Apple, buy Apple, buy Apple. Now you're only enriching Apple. You're giving them the money. Now I know that's white. That's what they would say is white collar, and now you're supposed to be intelligent.
Well, I know people who are investing into the vaccine.
It's still the same concept that's happening here. So, this is why the key fundamentals, once again, here are really about self. And if I had it down today, like if over 60% of you your time, your energy, your current is not being invested in you, if over 60, if it's not being invested in you and it's being invested somewhere else, you got to check that. You got to do the books.
Right.
And this is just in looking at your life. It's a simple analysis and say, okay, first of all, 8 hours go to the job. That's not even about me. So that's already a certain percentage. And then starting to do the math. Some don't have jobs, but just doing the math about even the kids, even the husband, even the wife, everything else that is taking time, energy, and essence, just kind of calculating and seeing how much you're getting out of all of that. Because if people are depending on you, these books are going to have to be balanced real good. And the interesting thing is that we're actually in an infinite creation. So what this really means is that if you don't get it right now, things don't just get right and they just don't stop. Here's the interesting thing. The symbol of the divine feminine has always been a scorpion. Because the constellation of Scorpion actually is right in there, the Taurus and everything. But the point of where the womb is a Scorpion. And I was like, how is that? So we really talking about a Scorpion queen and not king. What does this symbol mean? And it means that the ultimate form of power and protection and a weapon of might is that you can't be destroyed. You just keep coming back over and over and over. And that's Scorpion sting too. That's like your protection. Your protection is you're immortal. You could keep coming in and out of the womb and you'll be back. But the thing is though, what condition are you in? What condition are you in what portal do you arrive out of next? Like I heard y'all speak of moms giving thanks to moms.
Oh yeah, mommy. Are you in here?
The reality here is that, it's still great that we know at least enough about how to guide ourselves into the right womb and come out this thing and get the right kind of fertilization necessary to really make it through the cosmos. So, but that's not everybody's story. So what we're doing, because this is a tribe, this is we'll arrive, like I say, like a tow truck on the astral plane and be like, yo, you need a hookup and really try to get you back running again, but it's your choice. So, that's what I got to say about, WWF and what's going on with
WWF. Okay.
You got the right words, sir.
I know. Oh my God.
You know the right things to say.
Exactly.
But even just when you were talking about Hollywood, we're in LA. Yeah. We're in the middle of it. And I swear once I got here, I seen the smoke and mirrors and it was like, oh, I get it. And I started working on movie sets and stuff and then you break down a movie.
Right.
You see the whole creation of it. So then you see even the news, like you see car chases. I remember when I seen that and I was like, wait, this is not real?
Even the police.
Everything came
when
clear.
They're causing traffic. We figured it all out. Like in LA, the traffic is crazy, right? You've heard of that. It's fake. It's caused by the police. It's like they're slowing down the freeway. Let's back it on up and create this chaos.
So there's always
this
So when I see things, it's always going to be fake news. It's like, oh, guys don't believe it, but people fall into it. And so you even
addicted.
Breaking it down like that is like, did you guys catch it?
Right. Because I caught everything.
Yeah. So
like the way that the thing about it is, it's like we're caused to be brainwashed so early in the game, from birth. So it's like really hard for us to like take things into consideration because there's a part of us that says, okay, I'm anti-mask or I'm because to me, and I hate to talk about it, but this is the life we live, and we're living in this reality. We live in the U.S. We're going through it. We actually live in California, where they started to close everything down immediately. They were the first state to start that. And if this is happening...
They brought the ships in.
Right.
This is like for real.
Yeah,
they brought the ships in because where we live is the ocean, so we see the ships that's coming in, and they brought in the medical ships.
Yeah.
And they try to make a scene like this is what we're going to need, like as if dead bodies were piling out in the middle of the street.
The counts is
and
it's crazy.
I'm like, I drive past this every single day. It's never been used. It's just here for photo ops.
Right.
Are you guys kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they might as well have got the music in the background
too.
Because it's hella suspense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and... the adrenals for most people have to be like done by now, like especially with all the weed and all of that. So here's what it is.
It's true.
We have to really take the mind, body, and soul. Because, this is like a camel.
Yeah.
Like if this is not able to take you to your next destination, then you have to go in for a pit stop. And we always talking about like, you don't do your car like this. You don't keep driving your car with no gas.
Right.
You don't keep, driving the car. You ain't changed the oil. You're not taking this thing in for service. You don't even do the car like that. So why do your mind, body, and soul like that?
Okay.
Right.
And who has a manual for that? Like, where is the actual manual for the repairing of the mind, body, and soul? Because also, some folks, it may be more the soul. It may somebody else. It may be more the body. And so these are the things that we were looking at. Like, we spent a decade on this, like really looking at like, okay, well, how do we jump the body back off? Like, what's really happening? I want to explain also, because I know some folks are just motivated by currency, money.
Right.
And the reality
That's
is,
what I
though,
was
is that
wondering.
abundance is not just money. Like, abundance comes in so many ways. And most importantly, abundance is the same thing as the fruit on a tree. So for us, our abundance is our children.
Okay.
And if we actually see what's happening with the children and how much time is really being spent, we can get an idea with them. We can get an idea of how much or how well our investments are going. Let's just put it like that, right? And who is handling our investments. So the reality also is that if we come in and we say, okay, well, we're going to have to make some transformations here. By what means will you be coming into this transformation? Like, give it to me step by step. And of course, because this is a very complex thing, this being that we're in, I call it the high maintenance human. Like, this is, even if you have also other people to worry about, this thing is so high maintenance, this is going to be the first thing not to get any attention.
Right.
And so the reality is that, yes, we have this amazing gift called the body, but you can see how people are treating it because they can't get it to do what they want it to do in most cases.
Right.
But there is a way. There's a way to actually activate the mind, the body, and the soul. And when you're coming out of a program situation, also, you need to actually sit down with somebody that knows how to deprogram.
Right.
That's the big thing that comes next. And what happened for me is that I didn't really see all of that knowledge in one place.
Okay.
Right.
Like, I did see certain masters had one key. Certain system had one key, but you can easily get lost in any of these and devote your life to that and still not find the truth. Right. You had to be able to pull back the diaspora of knowledge and put all the stuff back together. So even if you has even any kind of schisms, any kind of dissensions in yourself, any kind of conflicts, it was going to actually replicate itself into the next experience that you needed to go through that you weren't going to be able to get over the hurdle of because you still had something that you were saying that you were not. And as for a people that know that they're everything, this is somewhat heresy anyway, because you would have to accept that all of everything that we see is a reflection of us. And only till you explore yourself truly will you realize that. And also, only when you're willing to judge thyself.
Right.
Forget what everybody else is saying. The beginning of the highest knowledge is still the acceptance of whatever it is the issue or the problem is in the realm. So in the realm, the highest knowledge, as I've mentioned, is encrypted in even what we call today as Alcohol Anonymous. Alcohol Anonymous, or AA, is a cognate or the symbolism of the Illuminati. What does the knowledge teach? How to break habits. Right. Why is it so important to know how to break habits?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the whole world is an input or something, an output, a yoni, if you may, waiting for your input. So every time you go outside of yourself doing anything, the rest of whatever you're doing it with is just waiting for that input. So you can get addicted to actually giving external input.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of this is like a meter. When you look at this meter, and that's why I mentioned this in the conversation, you'll hear it a few times. It's just something you can stick with, even if stuff gets a little too complex. If you're looking at this meter and you're starting to run low on personal time, if somebody ever take 3 hours with yourself, like actually clean the bottom of your feet, actually, wipe off your skin. There's these different techniques and things. Actually, women do this more for sure than men.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like, I take care
but
of
again,
take the time.
not everyone knowing how to actually go in that process and say, okay, today I'm going to work on my soul.
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
Today I'm going to also work on my mind. Today I'm going to work on my body. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing. And because that would be like a regimen, right? And so what we've done is we've been able to put that in place.
Wow.
I welcome anyone. It's free. I welcome anyone to come in and get yourself together.
Right.
And so I won't kind of drill in on that, but just so I'm not introducing any kind of problems without solutions, which I'm always on point about, because the solutions existed before the problem did. And that's just how it works. Right. So it's always good to let everybody know, look, just like you were saying earlier, yes, some people like to get the bad news and the suspense because they think they're watching TV, except for it's their own life.
Right.
And they've been gradually pushed into this. First, it was Anita Baker. Then it was Mary J. Blige. Mm-hmm. Now it's Cardi B.
Right.
Okay,
it's a slippery slope, but it happens. So people have gradually been coerced out of their shell, because you got to remember the body is also set up where it's contained. It's a contained unit. It has defenses. People don't think the body has defenses. It fights off stuff all the time. So how do you get a being to take down its defenses so you can enter into its courtyard and its holiest of holies and take down its ruler? Right. And that's really what we're dealing with in the dimension right now, is we have beings, groups. You know, there's all types of different people who want to do it, and different kind of beings want to do it for different reasons. But it's all the same thing. And it's trying to possess someone else, trying to take more soul force, more share of something and control that. And, you know, it's like, if I'm in something like this, I can't let myself really be taken by the wind and guided off into somebody else's projection, especially if that's not harmonic with where I want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Dang.
Every time.
But then it also then goes into what I feel is, you know, all this is gonna probably end. Well, this portion of the pandemic gonna end once the election is up in November and we get through that and we already know who the president is, and then we'll be on to something new, and people are gonna forget about this the same way they forgot about Ebola, the same way they forgot about just everything. I think they forgot about everything that we went through, and then we go through the next one.
Differ.
You don't think so?
Earth is not going to be the same again.
Oh, no, not that part. But I'm saying this pandemic itself, this whatever way we could say it without getting.
But I think, sorry, Sevan, but I think what the moral of the story of how Sevan was saying it is that, you know, all of this stuff, pandemic, all of this, you have to go within self. You got to go within yourself and have that moment to, like you said, take care of yourself and start from the beginning by cleaning yourself. Stop looking outside of the box and look within, because that is what carries you. Yeah. It's not about what's going on in the world. Yes, all of this is going to pass. It's going to go where it needs to. Yeah, people are getting sick, but it's because, like you said in the beginning, it's what did you say? Bacteria. Exactly. Excuse me. I apologize. But, you know, this is about, once you go within yourself and keeping yourself healthy, this can get you, you know, further throughout your journey. But I apologize for interrupting.
Exactly. For sure, we should have put that in there because that's anyway the ultimate defense against any virus or pathogen is you just keeping a really strong immune system.
Right.
Now, if anybody is aware, it's not this virus completely that is the biggest problem.
Right.
It's not. No. It's the damage that was done to the economy.
Right. Exactly.
And you can run simulators that will show you what things are going to look like based on what was actually done. So there's a transition coming here, and that has to do with the digital dollar.
Right.
It has to do with cryptocurrency and why that was the best use case. Okay. For those who want money scalable. You got to understand, this is not just about upsetting your day. Right. Like, this is about scalability. The same thing that you're talking about with corporations. Right. When you have almost 9 billion people all using anything, you got to consider how is that scalable if it's all run by the same corporation. Right. So finances cease to become scalable when we reached a certain amount of human beings on the planet. And so for them to even grow into where they want to go with the current. See, people don't realize that every time you put this current out there, this money, even though it's fiat currency, it gives energy and stimulus.
Right. Okay. Right.
This is what they call a stimulus. They'll hit you with a stim pack.
Right.
And And now you're just like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. And then the whole world or all United States, it's like a wave. Like everybody now got, even people who wasn't getting that much money in the first place, now they have some money.
Yes.
And then all of that money then will go into the, it goes through, it's like veins. It goes through all the system, and it artificially almost stimulates everything because, of course, how did you work for it and all those other dynamics that you invested. So the reality is that still, it's like sugar.
Right.
And the result, again, it will be the same game that's being played on a consistent basis. Because the knowledge, just so you understand the setup, even when you're controlling a nation, a kingdom, what happens is that if you're still going to keep everybody dumb, then they can't invent big things. We got Sumerian texts say that the king was like interested in building rockets. So the reality is that a person that feels downtrodden, hurt, their land is stolen, their lineage is cut off, all that is not going to be in the condition to build no rocket or learn anything or actually put time and emphasis and energy in something. So that's why the United started, because it's a project that has to run for at least 2 to 3 generations. Wow. And in this process, you let your guards down completely. You actually become compartmentalized, indoctrinated inside the system in order to learn certain things. Comprehension, reading, mathematics, the fine arts, but still never letting it click like the alchemical knowledge where all of this actually is based on real specifics, frequencies, vibrations, tones, colors, geometry, etc. Not going that far, but enough to be able to compartmentalize you in a situation where you're intelligent. You could build a Hadron Collider. We may get 100,000, 200,000 of you because we're never going to have anybody that knows how to work the entire collider. It's like building a car. You don't have people that generally know how to build the whole car. They may work with the leather on the seat. Somebody else may do the injection molding. Somebody else may do the metal, etc. But it's never one person. Yeah, I know how I could put a whole car together. So this kind of compartmentalization is very useful when you have a highly technological endeavor that you want to pursue, but you can't let the beings that are actually going to be the ones doing that, because obviously it's not going to be you, get into the awareness of what they can do with the knowledge that they actually have. So I have a sister, she's a friend. She's been to school for 14 years as a doctor. She can tell you when you pull one of them medicines off that cabinet with all them weird ingredients on it, she can tell you each and every single one of those and what they do. And I asked her, Carissa, do you know what the pineal gland is? What is that? So this is what compartmentalization actually is. She's got deep knowledge. She figured out the pineal gland. She knows all the chemicals that turn that thing on indefinitely, but it won't click for her because there is a altar and other things set up in there for her to not be able to access that part of her consciousness. Because just as I was showing in the documents of the Central Intelligences, they show specifically that they are aware that the left side of the brain tells the right side of the brain what to do. The right side of the brain can actually do anything, but the left side of the brain is the filter. So basically, if the left side of the brain say jump off a cliff, the right side of the brain just gonna jump. So the left side of the brain is still that check and balance system, like, yo, don't drink fire. Yo, don't pour bleach on your face. But they use that side of the consciousness to also tell the person, and you can't get out of the body, and you're not really God, and all of this other, and you don't know your history. When you just on a standard hypnosis, you put the person under and tell them, now go back and look at when you were age 4. Oh my goodness, I'm there. I'm in the classroom. Why? Because the data is there. What you've done in hypnosis is you turn the left side off and you just are talking right to the right side and saying to the right side, look, go and get this, and the right side will go get it. So you can imagine how far they've gone. And this is what I'm saying. Our ancestors are in the future. I'm trying to catch up and still keeping everybody else in tow. Our ancestors are not in these dense vibratory frequencies in the state of how you visualize the ancestors, okay? I want to make this clear here. Now, this is why we also have other ancestors, okay? They are here and some of them are in the past. They're way more primordial. They're very low dense frequencies, and they have a tendency to be a drag, literally, if you get too caught up in just that vibratory frequency. And this is just the whole spectrum. So when you come as a master of light, a lord of your own life and the king of yourself, and you sit in the crown of your own consciousness, and you invest the time and the energy in which the creators have given you, your parents, your mothers, your fathers, the divine androgynous, whatever, all of what they gave you, you invest that into yourself. Get yourself into alignment. That's why we call it Innerstanding. Get yourself together first. Don't be you're trying to help somebody else. You're drowning. All you're going to do is push them under. Get yourself together first. Stabilize. The symbolism of the Great Mother is an anchor. Stabilize your ship. And then once you get your foundation set, because that's where everybody's going to need to stand on, now you can start inviting some folks on board. But you better put them through customs.
Okay. Let them know.
Right.
You know, like, because the energies are like people are making their own choices right now. This is the result for sure of, again, the investment that we've made in the children and how much they are aware of all of this. Our ancestors were trying to keep an unbroken chain, but unfortunately, for at least 3 or 4 generations, we haven't had really rites of passage. Right. We haven't met fire, earth, wind, water, and what they really are, which is what the ancestors will put you through, so you realize how much power you're made out of, because you're made out of those elements. So they would take you through a passage where today, son, you're going to meet fire. Where? Oh, now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you would need to figure out, once again, that you are at least fire. Right. And then you will move forward from there. So, of course, if it's, I don't know, Pink Panther and I Love Lucy.
Perfect. Yeah.
You know, I went back there, right? Versus, you know, the Tetragrammaton and the octahedron fields coming from the crystalline network. It's going to be kind of a different future. But this is the cool part. We have the opportunity because we have still been gifted with a level of intelligence as long as we utilize it. It's called common sense.
I tell everybody that.
We boot that thing back up. Here's the suggestion. We boot that thing back up and we take a moment for ourselves. We go into the pit stop. As I said, there's knowledge there for you. You can go specialist training. You can go all the way and go sovereignty mentorship. In that, though, you're going to learn the basic fundamentals. I've taken the stuff that is on it and just given it to you for free about understanding your vibratory field, how when people piss you off, what that does to your field. When you got like a significant other, how your shields are kind of dropped for them so they can kind of hurt you more than other people. How the nation is completely romanticized. So this is about you trying to find something outside of you that's going to meet and complete you. And because of that whole romantic subset, you will more than likely be able to be easily manipulated through your emotional set, your emotional faculties. And how any great teaching, whether it was going to be you're going to be a samurai or whether you were going to be a llama, all begin with the same thing. How to control and master your emotions. Because either way, the more current we pump inside of you, if you get $1 billion tonight, if you don't have control over your emotions, you're out of there. I can give you about 3 or 4 weeks to live before you're going to be rebooting again, because it's like sending energy into somebody and they're not capable of holding that energy. So really what the ancestors will do then, watching this from the future, will be like, don't give them no more money. You know, because we keep filling them up with more stuff and they got leaks. These things are sucking on them. That's what happens when you leak. You can get in front of that TV and be leaking. Like you be looking at this stuff. And, oh, man, and all that energy is coming off of your body. And there are things that are just like, man, this lollipop. And I don't want to go completely into the spiritual realm on you, but just realizing that there is
go on. This is come on, let us hear it.
There's a communion happening. The great agreement here is eating. It's everything's consumed the other thing, and then it keeps regenerating ad infinitum. That's the universe. It's got uranium and it's got koala bears. So I know some of these folks, they like, namaste. I live in nature. There's a jungle out here. You're out there, right? If you think nature is all cute and you think all nature is just the great sunsets you're seeing, go sleep out there for one night, for a few days, while some larger predator is like, people are like, he's really going to stay out here. All that soft meat.
Right.
So just being full spectrum, so that way you don't get, because that's what a lot of these projects are. They got the conscious quote unquote conscious community, man, by the strings, because the people who generally control it, the Gaia TVs, etc., all of them are sitting there with really no knowledge about what the constellations mean. What does our language mean? The programs and the codes, where did they come from? They came from the stars. Our stories have already been written because the manifestations of who we are through the spells and the encoding actually are the words that we evoke every single day. And that these words that we're using, even though it's in English, which is angelic language, still has half power. We're sitting on a half-powered language where you can still manifest and evoke and explain and even circumference certain levels of knowledge and awareness and all of this power. And that's what I was saying. This is what the danger was. This is why the ancestors warned about having too many kids. If you look at what was in the Garden of Eden and all that, it wasn't about sex or sex. It was all about the first kid, Cain, the king. And just when parents bring children into the world and don't know what they're doing, that's really the context of this story, really, because, God come in like, yo, what was y'all doing? Shorty, she's covering up herself. What have y'all been doing? It's really about, okay, look, if you're going to use the all power, what makes you know good and evil, you got to know how to manage that, because once Prometheus gives you this fire, you're going to start creating, and then you're going to forget that you're even creating the reality around you. You're going to forget it's a game. And I've talked about this. You're going to start taking it too serious, like a cat you gambling with. It's a game, right? And he pulls the pistol out because he done lost too much money, or even Monopoly. Something that I don't have to take to the streets with you. Monopoly. There are folks, once you start, Monopoly is so simple. From the first time you cross gold, just buy everything you land on. Don't be trying to match colors.
Exactly.
That's how they work. They buy everything they land on. So I'm buying everything I land on. I'm playing with this cat. Pretty soon he's landing on my properties with hotels. But he's getting serious about this. This is fake money. He's pissed off. He done flipped over the board. Now we tussling. How does that all happen? Because somebody in the game has gotten too rigid. They started grasping onto the identity, grasping on who they think that they are, which is dangerous, because if you haven't figured out what you're really capable of, and then you're accepting this being you're seeing through a piece of glass, don't be surprised if you're going to be limited if you just, put all your chips in on that. So it's about remaining superfluous. It's about remaining like a vapor at times, moving through all this stuff. So that way, instead of finding the point where you're in conflict, you actually are able to see how this is actually benefiting you. Because here's the reality of this entire thing now. Okay, so we're going to work from home now. Great. So I'm at the house and I'm about to stop working. What's good? Where's the money going to be at? It's in cryptocurrency. The charts is all the way up. Once again, how can I get into this field? And this is what I was saying, where what we do then, because we really want to assist people, we don't just want to talk about the situation. It's great to bring a certain level of awareness, but we would get depressed if there was no solution. So we built the system, wealthybot.io. You go in here, you go run the simulator. Don't put any money in, just run the simulator, and it's going to play like it's real money, and it's going to send you emails and let you know how much money you would be making if you had real money in there. Because there's a fact that you're sitting on a $300 billion industry that's worth $10 trillion. Financial technology is worth $10 trillion, and it's at $300 billion right now. How much room of growth is still there? You got one Bitcoin that sells for $11,900 right now. You got $1 that's worth only $1. If you can be on a planet where one of something that's not a piece of art, or not something that is a relic or something like that, that's worth that much money over the actual denominator that we're using as far as our current, man, you better know what's coming next. And so how are you going to fund your future? How are you going to fund your next stage? Off of them. So if we're not so busy, again, watching Donald Trump come off the top ropes on his final Trump move, then we would be able to realize that it's not going up into this double dim Biden's world either. It's about actually getting ourselves stabilized, because you're realizing that no longer your surrogate father and mother wants to take care of you, because they off in Singapore. They over in India, where those people have been so bombed out and so brainwashed even on their level, because they've been working with them in the cartoons since day one, that they're ready to accept another fake ass dream. While everybody in the that's United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, and United States are like, let's buck, but they don't know exactly what to do. So it's a perfect storm to take all the kids out of school, especially the college. You ever been on a college campus? That's where everybody at. So now if they can't be on the campus, where they at? They downtown. This is a perfect move. Oh, look at them. They're rowdy. They just are not in school. So where are we going with this though? Whose great work is this, and is it really great? So I study. I tap into self, and then I find the truth. I won't come out the house. If I need to know something, I'm not going anywhere until I know this. I know this information, knowledge is there. So when I found out the truth, I realized, you know what, ain't nothing changed. Right. This is not new. This is about that same thing that I was saying, that there's real estate in your mind. There are gods, there are codes, there are creeds, all of that is functioning inside of your matrix, and that's what's allowing that to exist. So for the moment that you say, okay, you know what, it was great while I was along for the ride. The game was fun, guys. Listen, I'm just going to take the things that I like out of the whole thing, and I'm going to create my own. This is the same thing that you do when you lucid dream. When you know how to lucid dream, it's like Neo in the Matrix scene where he start calling up wherever he wants, whatever he wants. I've been in dreams, let's fly. Right. Then you start flying off. Then I say, I don't want to see anything man-made. Then there's the mountains and serene and lakes and fish and all that kind of stuff. Then I say, all right, I'm ready to go into space. And now I'm in space. Now, here's the thing. That's about being able to do that is about vibratory frequency. If you're too stuck into any of this, then it's hard to actually lucid dream. But notice the deep metaphor here. This means that really, tell me this then, since you spend about 7 hours, also 8 hours sleep, if every time you jumped into the dream, you could just have whatever you want, would you even come back to the world? And then the deeper level is to realize that you're actually in a dream. Because the reality here is again, if you lose control of the dream, it's because you lost control of your ship. This is the ship right here. And if you lose control of it, now pirates are on board, literally pirates. And then now you're listening to the damn pirates. This is how shit's got crazy. But this is a psychological. This is not a spiritual. This is a psycho-spiritual. If at minimum, this is a psychological situation where the one abused by the oppressor then looks for approval from the oppressor. And it's not a color. It's an attitude. It's a vibration. It's a frequency. And it's something that needs to be what we call repaired. What is repaired? Well, first of all, you're an androgynon. So this is saying that you really have something inside of you that's been neglected. This not knowing self thing is actually a broken relationship. And when you get back inside of yourself and say, hey, man, how you doing? It's like, yo, you killed me with the sodas, yo, for the last 3 years. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Let me pour some hydrogen on you. Thank you so much. You know, can I come out of the caustics and maybe head a little bit up the spine a little bit more? Well, you know, I don't know. You know, let's see what we got. It's a real conversation because this is your kingdom. So when you look in your kingdom, what's the condition? They haven't seen their Lord. You know, like the real world, you know how they don't know where God is? That's the he's God. This is the same thing at times happening in people's body. Like, yo, what happened to God? Like, he's killing us down here. There are millions of organisms living inside of the body, real things. I'm talking about stuff I could pull up out you and throw right on a microscope, and you'd be like, damn. I'd be like, yeah, he's a resident. Just being able to accept, that's the hood. That's the east side of your colon right there. So the reality is that if we can't have fun with it, it's not a game anymore. Now it's too serious. And if in your game, the only thing that I can do is die, and my mother already gave me an immortal scorpion sting to be able to live again, what am I really too concerned about except for whatever you can fabricate for me today? But like I said, mistake. Certification of vaccination ID is going to be like coming off the top ropes for those who are watching that scene and saying, oh my goodness. And still, see, they didn't have no money to spend no way. The most of the people perpetuating this, they didn't have no plans any damn way. There wasn't something that they really wanted to do. So it's not like their Christmas is being canceled. Well, actually, that's what it is. That's what they're mad about. But it's not like they had some big plan about taking everybody to a whole nother level and exploring the great reaches of consciousness and collapsing all the fields that were separating us. They didn't have plans like that. When's the last time we seen somebody like
never.
that? Shit, I don't even think that I'm still living in the same world that I grew up in, because I was already young looking at cats that all had knowledge and game and going through the movement and like, this is where we gonna go with this. And it seems like now it's just like the torch has been passed to me and a few of us to light up everybody else, because everybody's got this. I'm doing this for 10 years talking like this with this much energy because I'm not only the client, I'm the president. I will go in and take this thing down all the way and build it back up. It's a literal, like, okay, I don't mind going on the low vibratory frequency range and realms. That's where my brothers and my sisters are. I got family there. I got family through the whole cosmos. And I'll go down there and see exactly how much work I can do. And that's symbolically, I'll go into my body and go into the parts that, you may not want to deal with. And this is where I started realizing what was happening in the consciousness and understanding it from also numbers. This is the last thing. Notice how there are things that we don't like about the reality, the nasty underbelly, I call it. However, when we look at ourselves and we see sometimes our temperaments, our attitudes, our flaws, and we can still say, well, I only got my 2%, 3%. But when you times that by 8 billion, now you will get an idea of what would that, all your flaws, or at least a part of them, look like if it was all congealed into one massive form. That probably would be your government. And so when we start cleaning out what's actually happening here and really vibrating on the higher levels, then this is what actually morphs the entire reality around you. Because I'm here to tell you, it's never been that all of Earth is ever going to be on the same frequency. It's never going to be all Earth is going to be desolate in every single area. You're going to have areas that are abundant, watery, green, and you're going to have areas that are like deserts, bombed out, and red. And that's how the whole spectrum works. So it's just all about where are you at? What do you resonate with? Because I'd never seen anybody in my last 10 years in bringing this message and actually working with this level of power and connection with this tribe. I never saw anybody that really wanted to do it. They weren't lying to themselves and telling you in your face that they were about it. We're about love. And then that's really not what's going on. I never saw anybody who was about this not receive the greatest level of connection and guidance. Guidance, like, I don't care if the whole damn thing is storming. I don't care you wipe out 9 billion people. If it ain't time for me to go, I'm going to be standing there like, damn. This dream is getting pretty crazy. But still, fortifying yourself inside of your own being, it's like a football, a field that moves around you, that you decide still, how much of this, because I watch it. I watch World Star. I watch all this stuff. And I'll be sitting back popcorn like, they going right on. Are y'all doing it like that? But I'm going to meet you off at the pass, because see, our ship is nimble. Our ship can move through these waters. See, when you're dealing with these huge corporations and juggernauts, they move slow and lethargic like titans. So you yourself in the slick Tesla, you could come right through and just be like, boom, boom, boom. Let me make my move. Let me just spell a final thing for you. The people you're seeing with the big money blocks on the side of their head and all that stuff, looking like they definitely have dipped themselves in demon juice, they don't really have any money. I know you're thinking that money is symbolic at times to that people who have it seem to be connected to the darkness, okay? They don't have any money. They're in debt. How it happens with them is, first of all, from multiple levels, but just on the most basic level. When you take out a lease or a loan on a $200 million house, and you put 20% of that down, okay, that other 18 million is still in the future. That's still debt. And so if you haven't made with your career even $2 million, $3 million liquid, this means that you're technically on paper in debt. And the reason why I got to bring this up is that there's a huge deception that money, the actual money, has nothing to do with your energetic current internally. I'm here to tell you that once you clean this up, the money and the rest of the abundance that you've been overlooking starts flowing through. It's all about being the proper conduit. This is as simple as this. Just dedicate yourself. Take the next 3 to 6 months and say, you know what? This dude's whack and crazy, but it's good science fiction. I'm going to do what he's saying just to prove him wrong, just to show him that this is really about Bernie Sanders. So let me take this course and see what it can do for me. And I'm telling you the truth. You may not come back and tell me because some folks, they're a little haughty, but it will change everything and put you to a point where when you start thinking about the right thing, then the right thing the balance thing, as we call it, is manifesting.
Right.
And it'll scare you for a moment because you'll be like, shit, it works.
Right.
Just to show you how foreign you are to your own system and how it works. We are think and it is beings. Okay. And so pushing ourselves back into that awareness of who we truly are is, that's what we got with this. And you would need a challenge like this. The reason why all this is happening is because there's no way, if you have all these powers, you're going to even know what these powers are used for and what they can do unless you're put into a situation where you would have to. People who are born with wealth, they don't know they're rich.
Right.
You need to experience poverty first. Everything here is a contrast. So you have these powers and abilities, but it's like you've always had powers and abilities so much that you don't even know you have powers and abilities at all because you don't have a contrast. This reality is the contrast. It said, well, shoot, you better use that power and Kundalini and start controlling this dream and, whatever he's talking about. Because other than that, if you're depending on J. Paul Getty and Mark Bloomberg and whoever and Elon Musk, that's not where you want to be at. And lastly, be intelligent. Be intelligent. If you're looking for certain things, go right to the source. When I'm looking for the spiritual knowledge, I go right to the source. I find the path and the keyword. When I'm looking for something to do with my body or a problem, I go right to the source. You have to get used to the self-educated aspect of basically deprogramming yourself, telling yourself the truth about the matter, because there were so many things that people were like I sat there and pioneered the invention of a device that can program water. From the gate, people were like, you can't program water. I had engineers telling me, even though there was real documentation about this, engineers telling me that, why do you want to do this? Just to tell me, like, I'm paying you. Why are you asking me why do I want to do this? There's so much resistance here. But just that everyone was basically in this weird doubt. So they rather get 1 billion people together and build an iPhone and not get 200-400 people together to actually find out how you're really going to solve your health problem if you do happen to contract anything. This is not the beginning of this is a mental virus. People need to understand, like, they already flipped this to the next level where it was going to eradicate your brain. It was going to overflow what they call the Jabas. It was going to put so many dark holes inside of your consciousness that they were going to spill over into where your neat, perfected, balanced thoughts were. And this is why there's it's a tirade. That's why I say, oh, well, sitting in the murder hornets, it's a shocking on. We're going to shocking them to death. Let's now bring in what's next. Oh, shoot, look, the money is running out. The banks ran out of change because they need more copper and more of these metals. And then that comes across as the banks they ain't even letting us in. We don't have any money. Look, Pizza Hut said they only taking. So that kind of frenzy, I can't focus like that. An NFL player, an NBA player, a hockey player, anybody on pro level, you cannot shoot that basket. You cannot catch that end zone with that kind of state of consciousness. So just remember, that's what they want to do, is keep you hooked up to this shocked up, stimulated system when you really need to be relaxed and be cool, baby, and realize who you are and that you're immortal. And you need to get on your EverQuest in your process of actually realizing how to guide your ship, because balance is something that you can't just say, I'm balanced and I'm done. It's something that you have to achieve every day. So that's what I got just in relation to that. Like, it was an hour. We're about 5. Maybe there's some final thoughts. Y'all said y'all wanted to get a little question in or whatever, but just in respect of time.
I don't even know if we got time for the questions, but was
there any questions?
I figured that maybe the hour can be mean sometimes. So I was like, let's just see what we can do. I'm not your pastor or your preacher, audience. So, I'm not just here to rev you up and then like let you down or ask for 10%. I'm that we figured out money. We cracked the code to refreshment.
Right.
Okay.
I don't see how people could have ever thought they were going to figure out really deep levels of consciousness and didn't have money figured out, because money is not more complicated than deep levels of consciousness. It is an energetic thing. So it's your current or currency. The money is tied directly into your abundance, is tied directly into your body. Money is a bit more dangerous. That's why you have to be spiritually strong enough and fortified, because that dollar is a talisman, and it is necromancy, which is the more form of magic. These are dead people.
That's true.
Okay. Those are 2-dimensional signatures on parchment, which is a special kind of paper weaved with a certain kind of tree. Those are colloidals. That's the geometry that's being used, and that vibrates. There's a magnetic strip there giving it a little bit more power. And then once you put your finger on it, even those of us that have certain faculties turned on, we feel a little zap when we touch money. I don't even touch money. I let wifey touch me. I don't, because it's a little zap there. And that zap is all of the conduit, that everything that's happened with this money until it's got into your hands. That's why we have a process. We call it karma-free wealth. It's that when you invest in certain things like yourself and you cleanse yourself, you took that money, if you made, that had all that energy on it, and you clean that and you made it serve a purpose that actually is vibratorily. You got to realize every single thing. That's what it is about the game. You got to know all of the rules. And because they know the rules, they wear white gloves not to touch money. There's tricks to the trade. You can bend the arc of a roof 33 degrees and speak in the corner of it, and somebody else on the other corner will hear it in their mind. There's power gloves to the reality. You can build to scale a pyramid 51 by 51 degrees on the slat out of a certain material, and it'll resonate all the way to the one over in Kemet, just like if the one over there is over here, because it's a magnetic thing. When you make an image of something that is powerful, that is identical, that image also has a little of its power. And, if you don't believe that, then take a picture next to Tom Cruise and show that to your friends, and they'd be like, you was with Tom. Dude, he got bread. But that's the most rudimentary aspect of it. It's just realizing that there's power all over the place.
Right.
And if we're not so busy pushing that into somebody else's vision, powering up their projector, which doesn't have us written in. We're minorities. It's not even a term that is a minority by a number. It is we're outnumbering on a number level. They call in Chinese minority, and they outnumber everybody in the world. This word minority is a reference to that. Supposedly, you're not a highborn. You're not an angel. You're not in this high state of in the court and accepted. That's what their terms mean. So if you want to accept any of the things, I don't vote. Do not touch their stuff. They're working magic. This is polls, casting, spells, all that stuff going on. Don't touch any. Don't waste your time.
Right.
If they can get 1 minute from you, they'll get it and be happy. If they can get 2 hours, they're more happy. If you're going to do anything with them, meaning learning or watching anything they're doing, let it be so that you're actually forming your strategy of how exactly you're keeping your ear to the ground of what's going on, so you can know how your assets are moving through the space. That's their only use. And to show us exactly how not to do this thing. We got to have one more final thought.
Okay.
There's an issue here with this continuous aspect of who came first, the chicken or the egg, meaning that, who's really human and who's got a soul, and is it the black one?
Yeah.
One? And this is very important from a spiritual level to realize that even if you say that you're an originator, that means everything that came after you is your child. So if you start rejecting your children, no matter what state that they're in, this means that you're definitely not reflecting Ma'at, which is the divine feminine. Because she's going to take all her children, no matter what condition that they're actually in, from being on the wheel of life, and she's going to still embrace them and give them their warmth. She's not going to reject them because she knows exactly where to put them. This is the reality. You got to know how to put these elements in the world in their place. When I see any of this stuff on TV, it fuels me. They're like, okay, this one's dangerous. He's fueling himself on negativity. I said, well, shoot, nature. I figured out that, shoot, if there was a lot of negativity around, if we could use this as a fuel, this is what you got to think about. Like, sometimes it's like, man, there's a lot of negativity going on around here. Y'all got an excess of negativity. Can negativity be used as a fuel? So every time, because I used to let it scare the crap out of me, like, what are they going to do next?
Right.
Now, when I turn the energy and invert the energy into where it's supposed to be at, now I'm like, okay, yeah, this is exactly why I'm getting myself together.
Right.
It's like having a bad relationship, and then now you're out of the relationship, you moved on, things are better for you, and you still see this person, and they still going in that crazy direction. You're like, that's exactly why I got in that relationship. This is what it's got to be like for you in the world right now. You got to be looking at it, you know what, this is exactly why I'm becoming sovereign. I told y'all, get yourself together. You stop depending on them, and then you're going to be so far ahead in a short period of time.
Right.
Because this is a quantifier. Nature, earth, your body is a quantifier. You can plant one seed and get a ton of fruit. So that's what quantum actually is. So as long as you're planting these seeds and you're planting them with the intentions to get you into another stage, and they really bear witness to that because you know the alchemical principles to these matters. You know all the laws, the codes, and the resonance of the days which we give you. Now you ride with the winners. And that's it has to be some time to do that. And as our pastor father guru used to say, Delbert Blair, you only got to do this one time. Meaning that all you got to do is come online really one time and get yourself activated. And then you will have a succession of experiences, but you will not forget.
Right.
You will be conscious through all of your experiences. And when you load up another one again, it won't start from what we would call the beginning. Like you never see a dream start from the beginning because there's no beginning.
Right.
It's the implementation of all of our knowledge. There's no beginning. So you see it start up and it's already going. That's how you'll move. So when you die, which is an interesting word, but when you die, you will literally move into the consciousness or the dream or the world that you choose to project if you have control over the vehicle. So that's your incentive here is, if you don't, I don't want to go into the sad stories about what would happen to you. There's a lot of dogmatic traditions written about that. It's just about, because you can do this now in your life, just taking that opportunity for yourself to invest in self. There it is.
Powerful. So we just wanted to say thank you so much. And also, how do we, if some of our listeners may not know how to reach you and hear more of this powerful message that you're giving us tonight, where can they find you?
You can definitely check me out at secretenergy.com. That is the conscious social network that was created. It's horizontal, meaning that I'm not sitting here on top and the leader and the ruler. It's a tribe. We're all together and we're empowering each other in different ways. And there's many of us and we're intelligent. We're all over the place. Also, there's geolocation there, so you can actually find people in your area and link with them and stay on point. You can also check me out on YouTube at Innerstanding. This channel's been up for a decade. If you want to just know what I know and just function like I function and beyond, like there's some coming that are even greater than what I've been able to accomplish. You can drink over there. You know, it's been 10 years, so it may take a minute to get through all of that, but you will rise forth from that extremely fortified in knowing what to do. If you want a more linear approach, like, okay, just move all the stuff out of the way that I can learn later and just give it to me what I need to know now, you can join specialist training. Again, it's free. You can also join ambassador training. There are people there for you that will assist you. And then, of course, I'm on the gram at AstroQuest. And that's how we're handling things right now. So I welcome everyone to, come and get involved and empower yourself. Like, again, if you have a financial situation, we got you on that. If you've got a spiritual situation, we got you. If you need love and you need connection, like that's something that we do. We have that in abundance. It's like one of the only places that I know still have that. The motives and the objectives, like everybody here is abundant and we have something. And probably it's a lot of our folks in the chat now, sending lots of wholeness to everyone there. This is the thing. I decided in the end of this, if I couldn't find anybody that I felt like was really bringing this to a truthful level, then that meant that I had to step up into my place then and maybe let go of my own endeavors for this life to make sure that our children at least had some kind of mentors and someone to look up to. And I also wanted to give thanks to you sisters also because you're extreme role models right now for where we're at in society with our sisters all over the world and what they look to and aspire to be and how to do that perfectly. So I trust that this will go out to the world and that it will do great things for them and at least give them enough of the real juice. Like Dynamo Jack said, it's not electricity, it's cheap. Give them, it's not that stimulus check. This is the real thing for perpetual stimulus to be able to get you in a point where you can generate energy yourself. Wholeness.
And always remember, guys, nothing's wrong.
Thank you, Sevan.
Thank you, Sevan, so much.
Oh, that's hot.